Have you ever felt like you're the most capable person in the room, but somehow you're also completely invisible? Well, today we're going to talk about how to fix that. We're diving into the shift from being overlooked to becoming genuinely influential.
You know, Oprah Winfrey once said that you can measure a whole career by the distance between two phrases. Excuse me, who are you? And thank you for being here today. That first question, that's where our story begins. It's the one question that can stop even the most brilliant people right in their tracks.
So, let me tell you about this brilliant financier. This guy was the absolute definition of dedicated. He worked day and night, barely slept, and basically put his entire personal life on hold for the company. By every possible measure, he was a true master of his craft.
So when the big promotion finally came up, he didn't just pass the exam, he totally crushed it. Highest score possible. He was the most qualified candidate, hands down, no question. But he didn't get the job. Instead, it went to a colleague who, frankly, was less skilled but was way more sociable and well-liked around the office.
So the financier finally goes to his boss and asks, why? And the answer he got was just brutally simple. Nobody knows you. His colleague got the promotion because he'd spent time building relationships. He was visible. And that story tells you everything you need to know. Talent and hard work are only half the battle.
Okay, so how do you fix that? How do you make sure people do know you? Well, it all starts with that very first impression. So let's break down a simple but really powerful technique for organizing how you introduce yourself. It's called the editor's method, and I love this idea. Think about it. If you only had a certain number of words you could use each day, you'd choose them very, very carefully, right? This method just applies that exact same discipline to how you present yourself. It's all about cutting through the noise to deliver a message that's clear and actually sticks. And the formula couldn't be simpler. First, you organize your thoughts by what's most important. Second, you add a constant theme, that one core idea you want people to always associate with you. And third, you subtract all the junk, all the unnecessary words, the jargon, the fluff. What you're left with is pure, memorable substance. And here's a template you can use, like right now. Hello, I'm Name, a profession by profession. I work at company as a role, and in my free time, I like to hobby. It's simple, it's clear, and it's super effective. It's the foundation for getting known. Now, you might be thinking this whole personal branding thing sounds kind of new and modern, but no way. In fact, some of the most influential figures in history were absolute masters of perception, way before that term ever existed. Let's take William Shakespeare. Back in the 16th century, he went out of his way to get a family coat of arms. Why? Because it was a powerful symbol. It was a visual shortcut that instantly told everyone, this guy has status, he has authority. And today, we do the exact same thing with personal logos and brands. It's basically the modern coat of arms. Okay, now let's fast forward a few centuries to a guy named Edward Bernays, who is often called the father of public relations. Bernays took this idea and cranked it up to a whole new level. He knew that public opinion wasn't just something that happened. It was something you could actively build and engineer. Get this, a bacon company came to him wanting to sell more bacon. So what did Bernays do? He didn't just make an ad campaign. Oh no, he paid doctors, the most trusted authorities on health, to go on the record and publicly declare that a big, hearty breakfast of bacon and eggs was the healthy choice. The media reported it, the public believed it, and boom, just like that, the classic American breakfast was invented. That is the power of engineered perception. But what if you don't have a giant marketing budget? What if you're really starting from scratch? Well, the source material for this explainer gives us this fascinating blueprint, and it's hidden inside an old folktale about a really unlikely hero. I want you to meet Kacha Nazar. By all accounts, this guy was a complete and total coward. So one day, he swats at his face and accidentally kills a whole swarm of flies. But instead of just shrugging it off, he declares he killed 1,000 with one blow, makes a banner announcing it, and just rides out of town. This single act of branding, built on a total lie, eventually makes him a king. It's incredible. And his crazy journey actually reveals a 7-phase blueprint for influence. It starts with creating a belief in yourself. Then you find someone to endorse you, you secure that first promotion, and you connect with society's hidden influencers. Then comes the big stuff. You face a huge problem, you displace the old leader, and finally, you cement your legacy. It's a repeatable path from being a nobody to being in charge. Now let's just zoom in on 2 of these phases because they are absolute game changers.
Phase 2 is all about getting that first public endorsement, your banner that tells the world who you are. And Phase 5, this one is critical. When you face an impossible problem and somehow come out the other side, people don't see it as luck. They see it as proof that you were destined for greatness.
And look, don't just write this off as some silly fairy tale. The author of our source material calls this an infallible mechanism. The tools might change, from a physical banner to a social media profile, but the underlying strategy for building a leader, it's exactly the same.
And this brings us to what might be the single most important point of all. If you don't actively write your own story, I promise you someone else will write it for you. Or even worse, they'll just erase it completely.
Think about Katherine Johnson at NASA. She was a truly brilliant mathematician. Her work was essential for sending astronauts into space. But the rules at the time forbade women and African Americans from putting their own names on official reports. She had to literally fight just to get credit for her own genius, to sign her name on her own legacy.
And don't think for a second that this is just ancient history. The source tells the story of a modern marketing genius called Anna. She would join a company, totally revolutionize their sales, and make them a huge success. But as soon as she left, the leadership would try to erase her contributions and claim all of her success as their own. It still happens. So, this is your call to action. You absolutely cannot afford to be silent about your work. You have to speak about your achievements on your own platforms. Remind people of the value you bring to the table. And if you have a distinct style, make it your signature, your glass slipper that is uniquely and recognizably yours. You have to be the primary author of your own story. Which really brings us to the final defining question you have to ask yourself. What is the central theme of your life? What's the one core message, that consistent, powerful idea that you want to be known for? And this isn't just about a job title. This is about the very essence of your brand.
Because in the end, this isn't really just about getting a promotion or being recognized at the office. It is about something so much bigger than that. The real goal here is to build a name, a reputation, a legacy so strong that it can be inherited